Drake Maye is already bordering star NFL QB status, so why don't we speed up this timeline a little bit so the Patriots can return to the promised land sooner rather than later. We'll explain how here on Pat's Cast.
Pat's Cast calls out through the night. Coordinators lost, no guiding light. Drake Maye's talent on the line.
Welcome to Pat's Cast. I'm Brad Whitaker, just got back from Nashville mere minutes ago. And I have to say, seeing Drake Maye play in person for the first time, I've been to maybe 7 or 8 Patriots games, all on the road, because I don't live in New England anymore, since Tom Brady left, and it is just a different experience having a quarterback like that out there. I mean, certainly better than Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi and Cam Newton and some of these quarterbacks that I've seen, Jacoby Brissett, over the last few years, but even the Tom Brady days, I mean, just the strict pocket passer. You know, the Patriots, very exciting, won nearly every game when Brady was there, but to see a quarterback with that type of athleticism, that type of mobility, that type of arm strength, it is worth seeing. And if you have the chance to see Drake Maye play in person, go do it, because he was by far the best player on the field on Sunday. And yeah, he made quite a few rookie mistakes. I was very critical of him on the podcast yesterday, but I have to say, watching Drake Maye, I mean, this guy is ready, and he's ready to, he's like, if Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl his rookie year, I know Drake Maye is going to play less games when all said and done, but he certainly deserves to be in that Pro Bowl conversation already as a rookie. I mean, rushing for nearly 100 yards yesterday, very good completion percentage. Drake Maye, it's an exciting time to be a Patriots fan, despite all of the dysfunction that surrounds him at the moment. And we're going to get into that, because I think the Patriots, they should start speeding up this timeline, because I don't think any of us expected Drake Maye to be this good this quickly. And they have a real opportunity here with all of the cap space that they have, and you only have a rookie quarterback on that contract for so long. I mean, Mac Jones is in the final year of his current rookie contract. Feels like just yesterday that the Patriots drafted him. You basically have 3 years where you're paying Drake Maye next to nothing, and an opportunity here to really make an impact on the NFL and return the Patriots back to where they once were. But it's going to take a lot, because everything around Drake Maye is a complete disaster right now. But I don't think it's a talent issue, to be honest. And Greg Bedard talked about this after the game yesterday on 98.5. There was not a massive talent deficit on Sunday between the Tennessee Titans and the New England Patriots. I would argue, especially once you factor in Drake Maye, the Patriots had superior talent compared to the Tennessee Titans. They were on par talent-wise with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know the Miami Dolphins have a lot of weapons at wide receiver. They haven't been able to do anything all season long. They were on par, talent-wise, against the Tyler Huntley-led Dolphins. And a team that had superior talent last week, the New York Jets, the New England Patriots actually beat. So I don't think this talent stuff is a big deal. And I don't buy into this criticism that the Patriots fan base has right now of Elliott Wolf and Matt Groh basically being the de facto GMs and doing a bad job. Yeah, there's a lot of things they could have done better this past offseason, and there were certainly some misses. I mean, Chuks Okorafor obviously was a disaster. Jalen Polk has been a big disappointment, had 2 penalties yesterday, was only targeted once, but still a little too early to make a determination on the type of wide receiver that Jalen Polk's going to be. Elliott Wolf probably should have traded up and taken a tackle in the draft and selected a tackle over Jalen Polk, done something along those lines. I'll give him a pass on Caden Wallace and Layden Robinson. Javon Baker, we knew he was going to be a bit of a project. He's kind of on the Kayshon Boutte track at this point, so still too early to tell how all those draft selections are going to ultimately play out. But the truth is, there were no tackles available in free agency that the Patriots could have snagged that would have made a huge impact. I mean, Chuks Okorafor was benched within the first few minutes of week 1 because it wasn't cutting it. Patriots were not going to attract Tyron Smith. He wanted to play for a contender. Even if they paid double what the Jets were willing to pay, I still don't think Tyron Smith would have gone to the Patriots. And I thought he did a good job bringing back some of those foundational pieces. Kyle Duggar's back. Michael Wenu's back, even though he's not a great fit for the current offense the Patriots are trying to incorporate. Hunter Henry has been arguably one of the best tight ends in the NFL this year. If you're looking at fantasy, probably is the best tight end in the NFL. Kendrick Bourne, Anthony Jennings, Christian Barmore. I'm sure they'll extend Juwan Bentley next offseason on a team-friendly deal since he's coming off of an injury. From all the reports that we've heard, Elliott Wolf really tried to bring in a star wide receiver. They were willing to overpay for Calvin Ridley, which I disagreed with. They were willing to overpay for a guy like Brandon Ayuk, who just didn't want to come to New England. But most importantly, Elliott Wolf made the decision to draft Drake Maye. And that scouting process, whatever they did, it clearly worked because Drake Maye was a very raw player coming out of college. And yeah, we're still seeing some of the poor decisions that he made in college from time to time. Certainly made a few on Sunday with the 2 picks, with the strip sack. He almost had another interception the final drive of the game. But it's safe to say that drafting Drake Maye, 3rd overall, was the right decision. And this is really a stunning draft. Caleb Williams seems to be a hit. Jane Daniels might win the MVP this year. He's certainly going to win Rookie of the Year. And then, of course, Drake Maye is coming into his own and carrying the entire Patriots offense at this point. And yeah, I know they could be better in the talent department on that roster, but the teams that they've been losing to this season have not been superior talent-wise. And I think the injuries at this point are just an excuse. They still have plenty of guys out there that were impactful under Bill Belichick. They had a top 5 NFL run defense last year. I think Robert Kraft, starting today, needs to do a full-scale audit of the coaching staff, and that actually starts with Jerod Mayo. Now, I think Jerod Mayo has at least a 2-year grace period as head coach of the New England Patriots, and that's probably appropriate. I mean, he's 38 years old. We always knew there was going to be growing pains there. Generally, I think the players like playing for Mayo and want to play hard for him outside of the wide receiver room, which is an absolute mess, but overall, I think Jerod Mayo is a good communicator as a coach, even if he's not a great communicator to the media. It does seem like the team hasn't really checked out under his leadership, but he has a lot to improve on. And look, I'm not going to knock him for not going for the 2-point conversion against the Titans yesterday at the end of regulation. According to Mike Reese, the analytics say that was actually the right decision. It was about a 3% difference win probability if you went for 2 or if you went for the PAT, and the PAT had the advantage there. So I'm not going to knock Mayo too much for that, but rookie head coach pains certainly were evident in the overtime period. Mayo acknowledged that this morning in his morning presser, saying the Patriots didn't correct for the changing wind conditions. I was sitting on the second level. I knew the wind conditions were changing, and Jerod Mayo did not factor that into the decision. The Patriots picked the wrong side of the field after losing the coin toss, decided to play into the wind, which perhaps impacted Drake Maye's game-clinching interception for the Tennessee Titans there. Had he been throwing with the wind, maybe that would have gone a little bit deeper to Kayshon Boutte. I thought Boutte could have had a stronger effort, at least trying to break up that play, but overall, that was a terrible decision. Jerod Mayo needs to do a better job, but I think the audit should start with Mayo, but I don't think he's going anywhere at this point. The focus really has to be on the coordinator positions. And look, Alex Van Pelt and T.C. McCartney as well deserve a ton of credit for the rapid development of Drake Maye, but AVP is just not cutting it as a play caller. I'm sorry, particularly on first down. It's always predictable. Patriots are going to run the ball on first down. They finally ran a play action midway through the second quarter yesterday, and I think they had some positive yardage from it, but for the most part, play calling has been very predictable, and defenses have known what's coming every time the Patriots are out there on first down at the very least. Yesterday, their 8 first down design runs went for an average of 1.5 yards. All right, they have to start approaching first down like it's second down, especially if you can't get the running game going. You have a quarterback like Drake Maye, you got to give him more opportunities out there to open up the passing game, design run plays with all of his talents out there. There's a lot that they could be doing right now that they're not doing. And look, the pass protection has been a lot better the last month, although it did regress a little bit yesterday. But for the most part, Drake Maye has had a lot of time to throw the football since he took over as the starting quarterback. And if you can protect the quarterback, I'm sorry, you can run block. That comes down to coaching. New England running backs have averaged just under 2 yards per carry the last 4 weeks. And I think a lot of that has to do with Alex Van Pelt and him trying to pigeonhole this West Coast wide zone stuff, and then, of course, abandoning it mid-game, which he did yesterday once again. So I think it probably should start with Alex Van Pelt with that audit. And then it goes to DeMarcus Covington, the defensive coordinator. Both him and Drake Maye were linebackers coaches. And Drake Maye played linebacker, and they can't coach the linebacker position. They can't stop the run. And, maybe Covington's the one who's going to take all of the blame. Maybe Alex Van Pelt stays another year because of the development of Drake Maye. But, the truth is, they've been allowing 160-plus yards nearly every game over the last month. And they probably would have allowed that against the New York Jets last week if the Jets weren't stupid and didn't abandon the passing game. And I know why they did it. They have Aaron Rodgers. They have all those offensive weapons. But had the Jets just run the ball down the Patriots' throat all game last week, I think they would have won that game easily and controlled time of possession. So that probably should have been another 160-plus rushing game from the Jets. They still allowed over 100 yards on the ground. And I think really what this comes down to is Robert Kraft, Elliott Wolf, whoever made the decision to bring in guys like Alex Van Pelt and DeMarcus Covington, they really brought those guys in because they were young, inexperienced, and they wanted them to play under Drake Maye, so he didn't feel undermined as head coach. But I think that was a mistake. They need experience at the coordinator position to compensate for Drake Maye's lack of experience as a head coach, and that will ultimately allow him to be successful in the NFL, but it's just not cutting it right now with AVP, with DeMarcus Covington. I brought it up many times on the podcast. I don't know why the Patriots didn't consider Josh McDaniels. I know Robert Kraft, Wolf didn't want to spend a lot of money on the coaching staff. You could have brought in Josh McDaniels practically for free, considering he's still being paid by the Las Vegas Raiders. He would have done a great job with the rookie quarterback out there. What's Eric Bieniemy up to? I mean, I was saying Eric Bieniemy back in January should have been considered for the head coaching position before they just gave it to Drake Maye. Now he's the offensive coordinator for UCLA. Like, this is a guy at offensive coordinator who is one of the best in the NFL. Why not consider him? I think he would bring in that kind of drill sergeant charisma that the Patriots are really missing among that coaching staff, because things are just a little too open, a little too loose. And, the Patriots, they had Victory Monday last week after beating the Jets. Seems like they lost focus and started making the mistakes that they were making in the previous weeks against the Tennessee Titans. So, McDaniels, Eric Bieniemy, there's probably other guys out there, but they have some opportunities there, and they really need to bring in some guys with experience to help uplift the rest of the team and help to uplift Drake Maye, or else he's not going to be here very long as head coach. And then defensive coordinator, there's probably way more options than DeMarcus Covington, who probably deserved the promotion. He did a great job last year coaching guys like Christian Barmore, but it just isn't working. I mean, they still cannot stop the run. I think they're probably going to move on from Covington and maybe stick with AVP for another year if I had to make a prediction right now. But defensive coordinator, they're going to have to fill that role. What's Wade Phillips up to, by the way? Like, I know he's like 250 years old, but his retirement plan has been essentially coaching in the XFL and UFL, and he's done a hell of a job. I mean, 2 years ago, Houston Renegades, probably the best defense in the XFL. Last year, UFL, San Antonio Brahmas made the UFL championship game because of their staunch defense. That's a guy who would immediately make an impact on that defense. Why not give him a cushy defensive coordinator job with the Patriots, who do have a ton of talent on the defensive side of the football, particularly once you have Christian Barmore and Juwan Bentley back out there, a healthy Kyle Duggar, Christian Gonzalez, already one of the best DBs in the NFL. I think that's a guy you should consider, and why not? I don't think Wade Phillips wants to be an NFL head coach anymore, so he's just kind of having fun right now in the UFL as his retirement plan. But maybe you give him a phone call and say, look, you can be DC here. You don't have to have the head coaching responsibilities, but we have a ton of talent here, and we think you can turn this defense around by week 1 of next season. Give Wade Phillips a call. There's a lot of opportunities there, but you need guys that have experience that are going to work under Drake Maye. But like I said, Drake Maye, way better than any of us were expecting him to be at this point. He's uplifting that mediocre receiving core that the Patriots have, making plays with his legs, making plays when plays are not there. I think this guy probably will be a Pro Bowler this season and maybe a future MVP candidate. Saw Devon Godshaw called him Josh Allen 2.0. Gerard Mayo today, cringy comment, called him Drake Maye 1.0. All right. But if you look at Josh Allen's rookie year, Drake Maye is significantly better than Josh Allen was, who was throwing interceptions left and right. And I know Drake Maye has had issues turning the football over, but been a much better start to his career than Josh Allen, who I didn't really buy as an NFL quarterback until he was in like year 3 with Buffalo. So you already have that type of player out there. It's time to build around him, but not just with the weapons, with the coaching. Bring in coordinators with experience, make life a little bit easier for Drake Maye out there. Make sure the defense can get off the field and you can let Drake do what he does best. But Elliott Wolf also is going to have an opportunity now that Drake Maye is playing the way he is. He has some opportunities now to make some splashes this offseason with a real quarterback out there. We know what the Patriots' needs are. They need a tackle. They need an edge rusher. They need a true number 1 X wide receiver. And they probably need some more depth at cornerback and at linebacker. And I don't know how you're going to do that between the draft. Patriots already have a ton of draft picks, so they could address all those needs in the draft, but they have so much money to spend. I think they're first or second in the NFL in cap space heading into next offseason. So I say you overspend for a guy like T. Higgins. You address wide receiver, get a guy that you're confident in, and then use the draft. It's always hard to get a tackle in free agency. Use the draft to bring in a tackle, a good edge rusher. Whoever is the best player available, you draft that position, and then you address corner, linebacker later, maybe add another receiver. There's some real opportunities here, but look, I think more highly of Elliott Wolf than most Patriots fans do. I think he had a better offseason than fans are giving him credit for, but he should be on the hot seat if he's not able to make some big moves this next offseason. The Patriots should be at least in playoff contention by next year. Now that you know you have Drake Maye, you got some good options at receiver with Kendrick Bourne, Kayshon Boutte, and certainly with Demario Douglas. You're just missing that number 1 guy. I think the offensive line, hopefully Cole Strange, whenever the hell he comes back, can actually do something out there, but Vidarian Lowe might actually be a long-term option at the tackle position. You'll have David Andrews coming back, Michael Wenu, hopefully he's back at guard instead of right tackle, but you have some options there. You have some good players there. It's just about filling out the rest of that offensive line, and I think if Elliott Wolf does this right, the Patriots can be in playoff contention by next year, but again, I don't think this is a talent issue, to be honest. It all comes down to the coaching. And if you can bring in some experienced guys that aren't going to undermine Gerard Mayo, as I think the Crafts and Elliott Wolf and Matt Groh were worried about, experienced guys that are going to make Mayo's life a lot easier as an executive on that team, then I think the Patriots can be off and running pretty soon. But, I mean, this season's a lost cause at this point. I think the Patriots might pick up some surprise wins, probably 4 or 5 wins at the end of the year. If they can get to 5 or 6 then and start building on something, maybe win one of those last couple of games against the Buffalo Bills, either at home or on the road. Like, if they can pick up a big upset like that heading into the offseason, that'll give the team a lot of confidence. It'll help attract free agents and bring in some coordinators that actually know what they're doing that can also help to recruit certain players. And I think the Patriots can turn this thing around a lot quicker than most of us are expecting. So, for the most part, I don't think Gerard Mayo's done a great job this year, but he's going to have a grace period. We know that's going to happen. Much easier to have turnover at the coordinator roles. I know this will be like the 4th or 5th offensive coordinator in 4 or 5 years for the Patriots, but not working with Alex Van Pelt. If he wants to stay on the team and be an advisor or whatever because he's done such a good job developing the quarterbacks, I'm fine with that. But as a play caller, he didn't have a ton of experience, called like 2 games before being the play caller for the Patriots. You need someone out there that isn't going to be super ideological about how they approach the offensive scheme and is going to play to the talents of the players that are on the field. That's why I really like Josh McDaniels. He's not ideological at all. He's a guy that is going to look at the talent on that roster and craft a game plan that's going to best utilize that talent. Eric Bieniemy is a guy who's going to make sure that receiving room shuts the hell up and make sure everyone is dotting their I's and crossing their T's. I almost had that backwards. But there are plenty of guys out there that I think the Patriots, if they're willing to spend money, if they're willing to pitch the Drake Maye experience, they can turn this thing around with some real coaches and with a real solid offseason and be back in the playoffs as early as next season. So I hope they do it. We'll see what happens. But that's it for this episode of Pat's Cast. May or may not be back tomorrow. Really depends on what's happening. But I do want to say real quick, and I usually don't talk about things like this because it is a polarizing topic, and I certainly have my preferences. But Tuesday, November 5th is a very, very important day for this country. So I really encourage all of our Pat's Cast listeners to go out there, be active, make sure your voice is heard, because the truth is, the NFL trade deadline only comes once a year. And I know Drake Maye today kind of dismissed the trade deadline, saying like, this isn't baseball, there aren't many opportunities for big splashes out there, but it's not up to Drake Maye, it's up to Elliott Wolf and Matt Groh, and I think they have an opportunity to maybe add some pieces either to that offensive line, to that receiving core, maybe add some linebackers. There are opportunities out there. I don't think they should bring in players on a one-year rental. I mean, this season's a lost cause, as I said, but you know, if you can bring in a receiver that can fill in and be impactful right away and sign him to a longer deal, or if he's on a longer-term contract, I mean, that's just going to make life a little bit easier heading into the offseason. Maybe you can check off some of those boxes right now. So maybe back tomorrow, depending on if there's any breaking news regarding the NFL trade deadline. But if you like this video, be sure to smash that like button on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, or subscribe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and we'll be back the rest of the week.
Cast calls out through the night. Coordinators lost, no guiding light. Drake Maye's talent on the line. Wasted potential, time ain't fine. Gotta step up, make the changes clear. Bring the fire, make defense fear. Offense crumbles without foundation. We need brains to save this station. Past class for better days. Stars align, but not the place. Trace fire, burning fast. Need the talent, make it last. Look around, holes in the team. Skills alone ain't enough, it seems. Coordinators lost in the haze. Can't keep walking the same old ways. Whoa. Patriot pride, it's on the wire. Must ignite, coaching fire. Drake Maye needs a guiding hand. High above to take a stand. Drake Maye is lost in the haze. Can't keep walking these same old ways. Look around, holes in the team. Skills alone ain't enough, it seems. Coordinators lost in the haze. Can't keep walking these same old ways. Look around, make it last, make it last, make it last. Look around, holes in the team. Skills alone ain't enough, it seems. Coordinators lost in the haze. Can't keep walking the same old ways. Look around, holes in the team. Skills alone ain't enough, it seems. Coordinators lost in the haze. Can't keep walking the same old ways. Patriot pride on the line. Must ignite, coaching fire. Drake Maye needs a guiding hand. High above to take a stand. High enough to take a stand.